What is up, winning team? Happy Sabbath and welcome back to another episode of Absolutely Everything About Existing is Annoying Me. On today's episode, why do adults seem to act like children are this different species that's like not the same as adults? Because like it's something that I've been thinking about more and more, and what triggered my thought was actually I was just stalling and coming out because it'd been raining. And I was chilling and I saw this video, right, of this kid, and he was just excited to tell his parents essentially that his friends knocked for him because he hadn't had anybody come and knock and ask him if he wanted to come out to play, and it was the most wholesome thing ever. And obviously I was crying, and I was crying, and then I read some of the comments, right, and it triggered my remembrance of conversations I've had in all these years working with kids, which, by the way, I just decided before I started recording this video, that come what may, if I end up on the streets, I'm quitting my job next month. There's no way I'm taking teaching into 2026. I'm so miserable because of working in a system where everything is working against whatever I'm doing, whether it's the parents, it's the system itself. It's just like, I feel so numb to it, like to the point now. And this is part of why. So I think about, this is why I'm always thinking about kids, because I'm always around them. That's why I feel like in order for me to feel like I can actually get a break, I have to kind of remove myself from anything to do with children. Like, just for a little while at least. Anyway, so I just don't understand more and more. Like, honestly, getting older for me and my brain functioning more like an adult is just making my life so much worse, because I'm just so overly aware about everything, and like I can't pretend. And like that's what the beauty is in the children, because thinking the beauty of the kid and all kids is that they're in a pure state. And also, so the reality isn't that there's some different species, it's that something is clearly going wrong. And I feel like, and this is what annoys me, I feel like the adult population does the thing we always do. We choose the narrative that requires the least amount of accountability or addressing uncomfortable things. Hence why I hate this season, because people are all stressed and struggling and planning to have all these events, to show up in the Christmas jumpers and decorate your houses and have dinner together. And for what? With probably about 1 billion elephants in the room, right? Or people that were just being tolerated, and like, oh, I'm so glad I decided to not participate in any of the holidays anymore, which is another decision I've made. But I'm like, something clearly goes wrong then. Because if we start out like that, why do we then end up where we do as adults? Because people are like, oh, we should be pure like children. If we had the innocence of so what takes that away? Because the kids, especially for like at least the first 10 years of their life, right? And I say that because, people be going through things, at least for that length of time, are relying on the adults. Oh my gosh, those dogs are so cute. Oh, how sweet. Those dogs are so cute. I'm like, at least for the first 10 years of your life, nothing about their environment and nothing other is going to affect them other than their environment, because they're like sponges, right? Kids are like sponges. That's why I even say sometimes the kids really make me laugh with some of the stuff they say, because I'm like, oh, now I know what your parents' political views are. Now I know your secrets, because they'll be telling you, and they'll also tell you stuff, and they'll be telling you stuff, and then telling you that they're not supposed to be telling anyone, which is quite funny. Obviously, nothing serious and hurting anybody and anything like that, which I thank God that actually there's been very, very few times I've had to be involved in anything with safeguarding, because the whole safeguarding thing is something else I don't trust. That's why I feel like the kids are screwed. Like, I'm screwed, but at least I'm an adult And I got to have the little remnants of the times before now, so I know that things don't have to be the way they are now, because I'm one of the last few remaining in my generation who remembers. Like, even my brother doesn't remember a lot of things, and he's only 3 years, well, 3/4 years apart from me, whichever way you want to look at it. And so it's like, yeah, he's 3 years apart from me, because he's 3 years younger than me more of the year than he's 4 years younger than me. But anyway, and so I feel like the hard truth is, this is what I'm thinking about, guys, because I'm like, we need to get out of this cycle, because we have a problem. And I'm really scared for my generation, I can't lie. I'm so scared for them. And I'm more scared for the generation after mine, because I feel like things have happened in previous generations, and then because the previous generations went through certain things and didn't get the justice they deserved, and things are swept under the carpet and degenerate and heinous things are normalized, now they kind of repeated the same thing themselves. But the thing is, the world is moving downhill, so every time we do that as a generation, the situation actually gets worse for the next generation. That's why now we have kids in school who, like before, now we have kids coming to school like at much older ages who are not even like potty trained, who can't even speak. They're so unsupervised and unlooked after. It's shocking, honestly. And that's where some of these extra jobs are popping up everywhere, and everybody's being diagnosed with everything, because like all I'm seeing is these kids just simply aren't looked after in any way. They're being raised by an indoctrination camps, as in the schools, and TikTok, which I'm new to. Hold on a second, I gotta go in the shop. I actually don't have to come off of this recording, in all fairness, but I will. I'm gonna be right back. Oh, I forget where I was. I was having such a nice chat with the lady in the store, because there was something I wanted to ask about, like 2 things, but usually it was so busy, and now it was just me and her in there, and I was like, oh, this is my chance. Anyway, so what was I saying now? Oh yeah, so what I've noticed, I can't help it, because all I do is spend time around kids and then spend time by myself recovering from spending time with kids and their parents and the system. And I just realized they're screwed in every corner. Like I said, everything is screwed in every single direction. But I realized that I feel like everybody actually deep down knows that. But it's obviously easier and more comfortable to look at kids as if they're like this separate category of society, or to look at kids as though they're just these demons that came out from nowhere, like no one's taking responsibility. And I feel like the root of that in the adult population is that they feel already like my generation is getting more understanding than they ever did. And I feel like that's why there's no sympathy or no empathy, because I've been saying that. I've realized jealous people, they lack empathy. They can't, people who, if you're jealous of someone, you can't empathize with them, because there's like some bitterness in you that feels some kind of resentment that they have what you feel like you deserve, or stuff like that, right? So in thinking about that, that's what brought us here. And I truly feel like, that's what, in essence, why do I sound out of breath again? My generation is dealing with, and why the parents do this. And I honestly feel like deep down, we all know that the issues are so severe, like across the board. Because like now when I see things, right, you can tell I've had one of those days when I've been on social media. Because every now and then I have to dip into what's happening. Because when I'm on social media, I'm watching like cooking content. I'm like, you know what I mean? Off in the clouds with like people that do like comedy and stuff. So every now and then I have to take a day to like dip back into what's happening in the world. And I heard this story of this woman, right? And this is again what makes me just think the world is just so broken. Like, this is why I'm so miserable about being here. I literally, like, the worst thing that ever happened to me was being born. Genuinely. And the best thing that ever happened to me was being born again. That might be these are the types of phrases I should put on my merch. Like, if I ever have one. the worst day of my life was being born. The worst thing that ever happened to me was being born. The best thing that ever happened to me was being born again. Praise Jesus. This woman, I don't know if you guys have heard about this. I hope you haven't, because I hope you're spending your time on better things and not getting involved in stuff like this. But essentially, there was some woman, this is months old, okay, who fell in love with her therapist. Or rather, let's be specific here, her psychiatrist. Now, the reason why I find this fascinating to begin with is, you guys know I deeply dislike doctors, especially that was all confirmed when I went to the hospital. And it also, again, another thing that annoys me, why are parents so excited, especially like those of us who come from like African and Asian backgrounds, and the expectation to become a doctor or a lawyer. It's like, you want your child to get into a job where they're going to at least be working like 12 hours a day, have no time for themselves, have to work that many hours just to pay off their student loans, just so you get to say that they are in a good job and you did a good job as a parent. That's so freaking selfish. How dare you? How dare you? I pray that none of my children wants to be a doctor or a lawyer and be working long hours. How are they going to get to have a family and have a social life and be happy? I want them to be happy. I want them to be able to work as little as possible and enjoy as much of time as they can with the people that they care about. Not this doctor, lawyer nonsense. But again, even with that, especially in the African background, a lot of it's just to show off to the other adults. Like, so many things that adults do when it comes to kids are selfish. Like having kids to be like your servants, to help out. I've heard so many parents talk about, oh yeah, if you have more kids, then other kids can help with the other kids. It's like, so you're having kids with the viewpoint of them becoming a slave, like, or like you have kids so that there's somebody to look after you when you're old. But the Bible says you should set up an inheritance for your children, your children's children. You shouldn't be worrying about being looked after. Like, and I've seen this, how this actually works well, like with the friend in Italy, because her mum, she's in her 90s and she's thriving. She lives in California, and she's the one who paid for all these schools that my friend went to. Hence why she just doesn't understand why some of us are stressed about student loans. And she's paying for all of her own stuff and also leaving inheritances and stuff. She can look after herself. So all my friend has to do is just show up as a daughter, not be a parent to her parent while also being a parent to her own daughter at the same time. Anyway, back to the doctor thing. So the psychiatrist, and again, in order to become a psychiatrist versus a therapist, you guys already don't know who gets to decide. Well, we're going to come to that in a minute. If you don't know the difference, to be a clinical psychiatrist, you have to go to med school, right? Which I know a lot about med school because I was going to go to med school, right? I gave up that dream when I realized I was only going to qualify into my 30s and I was never going to have time to spend with the family that I wanted to create. And I didn't want to be spending all this time just to be a doctor looking after other people so I could pay for other people to look after me while I'm being paid to look after other people. I may as well just look after my own people, like, you know what I mean? Anyway, I hope they don't actually live there, because otherwise this is so embarrassing. Anyway, and so, I'm really bloated, guys, and it's really uncomfortable. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so she gets with this psychiatrist that she starts talking to. She's suffering from ADHD and she's previously been on drugs. Hello. Yep, it happened again, you guys. So this is what just happened, right? So I'm just sitting here casually and then I see this Range Rover just stop right there. And I just had a feeling that this person knows me, right? Lo and behold, it's this dude, one of these dudes that wanted to marry me. Hilarious. Oh, and actually it's ironic because he's a relationship and family counselor. And he's part of the reason I don't believe that they are what do you call it, as qualified as they think, because one of the things about him is he wants to have a daughter so badly, and the truth is I thank God he hasn't had one, because I don't think he's ready at all, because I think he's thought about like the baby phase of it all, but like to actually deal with having a daughter, because he's got sons. I'm like, my friend, it's not what you think it is, like, at all. This is going to be the hardest test of your entire life. But anyway, but also rewarding, but like, and also his thoughts on women, because he's told me, because he does relationship and family counseling and marriage counseling for men. And I'm like, wow, you really only see things from a male perspective, and it's no wonder. Anyway, And it's actually quite funny because I'm really just telling you guys all my business. So he messaged me a couple of weeks ago, and I forgot that I even gave him another name that's not my name, because I also do that. I give different destination locations where I live names, because you've got to protect yourself. And it's funny because he always circles back, like, to see if I'm interested again. And he doesn't say it, but the way I can always tell is he's like, oh yeah, I just had to catch up, since we're friends, it's been a while. And like, I know you're not trying to be friends. And so then every time he circles back, I'll intentionally be like, so this guy I really like, you know what I mean? Like how I would talk to a friend, and he doesn't speak to me again. And then he circles back around to see if I'm single again. It's just funny. Anyway, I can't believe that just happened while I was sitting here. And this is why I'm always wearing a hood, because I'm trying to remain incognito. And I think that that's why he was having to like look to see what was happening. Back to the subject of the video. But it's funny, it's ironic that the one person that again was the confirmation that like, if you're qualified and this is what your opinions are, and you're the one who's helping marriages, relationships, and families. And like, yeah, anyway. So yes, this is a clinical psychiatrist. So you have to actually go to med school, versus like some like therapists and counselors, you don't have to go to med school. So like what he does, he doesn't have to go to med school. I love how the Lord just delivers, in terms of adding extra layers to the things that are happening while I'm going through them. Anyway, so she starts talking to this psychiatrist. She's got all this ADHD and recovering from addiction. She's in a really bad place. There's a reason I'm bringing her up that links into what I was saying. And the thing is she ends up catching feelings for this psychiatrist, and she can't really say anything. It's like clinical psychologist, psychiatrist. Are they the same thing? I don't know if they are. You guys do your own research, and I'll do mine when I get off the video. And she starts to see him once a month, and they're doing it online. Now she starts to fall heavily in love, and I feel like it's because he was the first time she felt somebody was listening to her. And I feel like when you finally, if you've not experienced love in a way, or people who are there really listening to you and looking out for you, then it feels like such a big deal when somebody finally does it. And that's why I see why people part ways with their money for the sake of therapy. Because I'm like, if you've got nobody in your life that really would sit there for you and not interrupt you or not assume the worst, but just hear you out, then of course that's something that's so rare, right? And so that's why when I talk with people, I try my best to like really let people say as much as they want. Like, listen, I'm here for an entire podcast if you want to just get everything off your chest. That's also why I don't value small talk, because I'm like, what are we going to get with how are you? No, how are you? Like, what's going on? Like, how was your day today? How's your week been? How are you feeling about getting to the end of this year? Like, what are your thoughts about next year? Is that like, I want to like get to the meat of it. Not just like, oh, I'm fine. Work's cool, work's long and boring. Anyway, so she falls in love with him, and she keeps taking his professionalism signals as if he's interested, because he's not cancelling her therapy, because apparently they're advised not to. This is what the other so-called experts were saying. They're not advised to cut off a client because because it could increase or induce abandonment issues. So he's just kind of smiling and not saying too much with everything that's happening. Then eventually they meet, and she runs up to hug him. In the same time, she starts to see a therapist. So she's seeing a psychiatrist and a therapist, right? She's falling heavily in love with this psychiatrist, thinking that he's in love with her. And she does, bless her heart, look crazy on the internet. And that's actually why I'm bringing her up, because I don't think she's as crazy as people are making it out. The therapist now is kind of listening to this, and she's telling the psychiatrist that she's been having dreams of having sex with him, and she's been telling him in detail. And she keeps saying he sits there smirking. Not to forget the fact that this is also a married man, I'd just like to mention. And it's true. When she said at the very beginning that she met with him and she found him attractive, I was like, I know myself, I would never ever get therapy from somebody that I found attractive, because as soon as I think you're attractive, my head is gone already now, and I'm not going to be able to focus on anything and be serious about anything. And then now you're the last person I want to tell about my issues. But anyway, so in my opinion she should have, but then we're going to get to that. So anyways, this therapist is kind of encouraging it, saying, oh, he obviously like has feelings for you as well. So I'm like, where are these people getting these qualifications that everybody trusts so much in? We second guess God, we second guess the Bible, we want to nitpick at every single scripture and where's this from and where's that from. But when it comes to the things of this world, the FDAs, the so-called doctors, lawyers, therapists, psychiatrists, and all this stuff, we just blindly trust them. I absolutely hate it here. Actually, let me out of this place, Lord. Get me out of here. And so long and short of it is, how people reacted is what I wanted to mention. A lot of people were reacting as if like she's lost her mind, she should know, she should step away. And I'm like, how is she supposed to know? How is she supposed to know? She's clearly not okay, and she clearly has some deep issues. If the therapist can't say anything because of whatever rules, and she's going to where we're supposed to go to, this is what I mean when I said the world is broken. Like, what is she supposed to do? What is she supposed to do? I hope this guy doesn't watch my video, because he knows I have videos, and he's seen me recording. Oh, Lord Jesus, please don't watch my videos. That is the number one thing I avoid bringing up with any male person is around, is my YouTube video. And it is tough, because sometimes they'll be like, what's going on? Like, you seem so busy. And I'm like, can't say. But yeah, so hold on a second. Yeah, so the long and short of it is, I was like, where is she? Like, she's seeking out the help she needs, and she can't get it. And there's obviously, because everybody's like, oh, they go to therapy and they realize they're suffering with childhood trauma. I was like, oh, why is it? That's everybody. We're all suffering with it. That's why even when I say stuff about the other generations and stuff, it's like, I'm not villainizing you, because we've all been through it. What I'm saying is, when is any of us going to step up and decide that enough is enough? You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, the cute little doggy. When are we going to realize that enough is enough? And if we don't change the game, this is why I'm getting frustrated. I'm so stressed about being alive, because I'm like, I don't want to just die and just have been the same. Like, you know what I mean? And yeah, so when everyone was saying that, I was thinking, well, we're all mental health, this and that. But where was she? She was trying to do what she was supposed to be doing. And she was trying to get the help that she needed. And everyone was telling her basically that she was behaving wrongly. And I was like, so why is there always rules? There's rules to how we have mental health issues now as well. Some mental health issues are acceptable and other ones are not. Like, these are the things that irritate me. So I was like, so that circles me back to the children thing, where it's like, the children, because no one, it's similar to what I say about the church. You have imposters and you have the ill-equipped. You have imposters, people who act and look and make everything look like they're like the perfect parents, or they care so much about kids, but they don't put that into practice in reality. And then you have the ill-equipped, as in the ones who should have never signed up for it anyway. Because I recorded a video for TikTok here, because I'm going to start my TikTok era. And I was in it. I was like, here's my advice to anybody who's getting asked over the holidays why they're not married and having children. Hit the Uno reverse card is, why did you get married, or why did you have children? Because it doesn't seem like that was a good idea. And watching your horror story of a life is actually exactly what has put me off. Because that's how I feel. Every single thing I go through, I'm like, oh God, I don't never want to have a friend. I don't never want to be in love. I don't never want to have kids. Like, when I hear these horror stories and I see the horror that's happening in this world, and just how the standard of love is just in the bin, it's like, miss me with that. Lord, get me on a PJ straight to Antarctica, to my ice castle with my 9 huskies, my 5 Siberian tigers, and my 4 Icelandic horses. Thank you. And so, and it'll be like a winter wonderland. Oh, it'd be amazing. Yeah, but yeah, so you guys see what I'm saying anyways. Like, these are the things that just don't make sense. So when it comes to the kids, it's like, obviously, all that beautiful innocence is beaten out of them. That's the answer to the question. It's beaten out of them. They're ruined. They're destroyed. Like, and then by the time seeds are planted, and then by the time we become adults, we don't even recognize that anymore. Because like I've been saying to you guys, I'm, myself at the minute have been struggling to find any desire to do anything. And that's just because I think everything is pointless, because I've just been through so much where it's like, I just hate everything, and I just kind of hate everyone, and I just don't see the point. When I was like 16 and all dumb and innocent, I was all like, oh my gosh, I'm going to take the world by storm. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I look back at my child self, and all I can think of is, what an idiot. Like, for so many things, I think, oh, what an idiot. What an idiot. But yeah, I think I'll wrap that up there, because I've been making podcasts recently, but I really feel like that's what it is. We all get it beaten out of us. We all know deep down, but we all know that the world isn't equipped. And that's what I'm saying about this girl. It's like I said to you about so many things where I've just noticed that we're ill-equipped to have the tools. And that's why we're like, oh, we love the idea. Oh, there's a professional. There's somebody who knows how to do this. But then it's like, but who decides who that professional is? And what do they get out of it as well? Because I've been thinking about this as therapy. One of the reasons I don't like the idea of therapy is I feel like it's always the people who are like consider themselves an empath, like as in the terms of the people that call themselves empaths, I would be considered one, right? But I feel like it's a prideful thing. It's not a genuine compassion thing. It's like, I love to be the one that like has all the feelings for everybody. And that's why I keep a lot of my caringness to myself, because I don't want people to like love me and be like, oh my gosh, you're so caring. Like, can it get to my head or something, right? I'm fearful of pride, as I've told you. And so I feel like a lot of these people that are getting into therapy, especially these days, when I hear, well, like I said, I know this guy, and the main reason we even spent a lot of time together is because I was helping him get onto social media, ironically, where he was making videos about giving tips and things to the men. And then I was just helping him with showing him how to do the content creation side of things. And then he would ask me, like, what do I think about this? And what do I think about that? And sometimes he would tell me stories of things he's heard. And I'll be like, oh, you don't understand women at all. And this is why you're still single, my friend. Because, and it's detrimental because how many people are taking advice from the guy? Yeah. And it's like these therapists, I feel like the therapists, especially hearing this whole story, some people get into jobs for sinister reasons, like this whole teacher nurse thing. I do believe that like this thing of that mean girls go into teaching and like nursing either to kind of exonerate themselves in a weird kind of way or to just, again, play the character. That's why I'm like, it's easy to play characters. It's easy to play the character of someone that's caring, play the character of somebody that cares about kids, play the character of a therapist, or the character of a teacher or a nurse or a doctor or a parent or a friend or an uncle or an auntie. But then can you execute the role well? And do you actually meet the requirements? And that's where I feel like it all comes down to love, because I feel like with love, if you actually have love within you, which again, the Bible says that God is love and love is God. So if you don't have God, you don't have love. Whatever you have is probably something else. Or that's the part of God that is in you, I feel like a lot of this stuff is like, if you love people, it's not that hard, right? It's not that hard to understand a lot of these things, right? But I feel like because our standard of love is so in the bin and we outsource literally everything about our lives, our food, our health, our education, our work, our what we're capable of, that's another thing with the school system, beats the hell out of kids. And that's why I love working with the kids when they're like 11, because they don't know enough yet. Whenever I have to work with the kids that are like age 16, I feel such deep depression, because I'm like, you guys are screwed already. You've been so brainwashed in the wrong direction that like there's not a lot I can do here even to undo this already. You know what I mean? I'd have to maybe I should become a child therapist. The heck? I've thought about that, but then I feel like it's going to reinstate my anger. That's the problem. Because that's what's happening now. And it's sad because I feel my heart is not just broken for the kids of today. My heart is broken for the kids within the adults. Like, that's why I have a lot of compassion for people, because when I look at people, I just always see them. I can always visualize them as a child. And I don't even know what that's about. And so I kind of treat them like that. You know what I mean? Not harshly, not expecting them to know everything. But then again, that's where we're at now, where it's backwards, where we make excuses for adults. We talk about how it's adults' first time at living. We talk about how adults should get the understanding. And then the kids are supposed to just know things. The kids are supposed to have it all together. The kids are supposed to get everything right the first time. And that's what makes my job hard, because the kids are so afraid of making a mistake. I'm like, dude, you can get the question wrong 4 times. I don't care. As long as you're one step closer to getting it right. But they don't feel like they can, because they've grown up in a in a society that villainizes that as kids. Like, and they're so, you can see the anxiety in them. They're so nervous. And I'm like, just try it. Just give it a try. That's why I say like 70% of my work is overcoming that anxiety. And this is why I know the system is not fit for purpose, because other teachers will just, because they're taught in these education camps, again, because I don't have a teaching qualification, so I don't know what they're telling them, but my methods seem to work, right? They're taught like, oh, if the kid is capable, then they're capable. If they're not, they're not. As long as you do your bit and you bark at them at the front of the classroom, and if they don't get it, that's on them. That's not even teaching, mate. And I feel like that's where being a dance teacher helps me. Or like, because you have to like, if you're teaching people what to do with their physical body, it's really hard to be able to articulate like every single thing, like how the move should feel, how it should look, the timing. It's so much more intricate than like standing at the front and like explaining what an isosceles triangle is. You know what I mean? And so I realized a lot of people in teaching as well, you know, they're not really actually teachers, like by real natural trade. Naturally, and again, it's one of those people think it's such a wholesome thing to go into, and it's like, you're stepping into a war zone, my friend. You're stepping into a war zone because you now are going to try to do all you can and going to have to be faced with the fact that, especially in this generation, everybody else around is probably making your life more difficult for the most part. There are the few families out there who are lovely and sweet and whatever, but then again, a lot of the adults are stuck in their ways. So it's like, you're stuck in your ways. And so you being so stuck in your ways, thinking you know how things work when you went to school 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it's like, my friend, respectfully, a lot of things have changed. And then when you have people like me who are actually on the front line doing the work, telling you that, you don't want to listen. So how are you any different to your child? How are you any different to the children? So I'm saying we're no different to them. We just have pride added, and we just have all of this cognitive dissonance and just sweeping things under the carpet and ignoring elephants in the room. Because as far as I'm concerned, the way that we are, especially the way we are with God, not trusting in his advice, not listening to him when he says things the first time, making his life difficult, him having to always come and clean up our messes, him having to, because he had to send Christ because we didn't listen the first time, he had to send the Holy Spirit because we now got disembodied spirits. Every time he's cleaning up after us, and then we as adults, if in any way think we're different to the kids. Make that make sense to me. It is gorgeous out here and the sun is about to set. It is beautiful. And I am so grateful that I came out because I was really not feeling too good, and I may come back out again. Who knows? But yeah, guys, that's all I've got to say for today. I just don't know why we separate ourselves. Because as far as I'm concerned, we're all the same. We're all ill-equipped. We're all children. All of us are children. The only people who are not children or don't realize they're not children, like, is the people with pride or the people not prepared to address the elephants in the room, right? And that's why kids are even considered inappropriate, right? Because they're the ones always calling out the elephant, the things that are elephants in the room. And that's what I love about them. I love how they're reckless. I love it. Anyway, I'm going to skidads. If life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And see you in my next one.